Yo, drunk.
A-okay. Welcome to the Me Show Mission. 2 men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Len, a.k.a. the Bat Tribble. And as always, I am joined by my partner.
Hey, this is Vincent Williams.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it is November, so we are continuing the Bards of November.
Very classy.
Adaptations of the works of William Shakespeare.
La-dee-da.
And ho-de-do.
And ho-de-do.
But tonight, it will not only just be Vince and I bringing you our review. Tonight, for our review of Deliver Us from EVA, an adaptation, if you will, of The Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Tonight, this review will be brought to you by writer, producer, and podcaster. Co-host of the fantastic, notorious women podcast. Notorious. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for none other than Miss Lavetta Cannon here on the mission.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I don't know how to behave. Oh, my Lord.
Oh, let it all go, girl. Let it all go.
Right.
Oh, we going to get into it.
Right. We're usually a pretty straight-laced show, but.
Yeah.
Look, I was under the weather last week.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I feel like I owe the missionaries a show.
Right. This is sort of that post-sickness.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still coming out of it a little bit, but for you, I'm here, ladies and gentlemen. And for you, Lavetta, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes.
Here on
How
the
are
mission.
you, Lavetta? How are you?
I'm fantastic now that I'm here with you, gentlemen. This is such a treat. I'm a big fan. I'm very excited, and I'm going to try and keep my composure and not embarrass myself, okay?
You'll be fine. The bar's fairly low. You're good.
No, I'm great. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Before we get too far along, we want to give a shout out to each and every one of you out there who are watching us as we are streaming live from Yunk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace here in Manayunk, streaming live to Facebook and streaming live to YouTube. And each and every one of you out there in the chat, hello, missionaries.
Hello, one and all. Good evening.
Good evening. Lavetta, as
Yes.
we mentioned at the top of the show, you are a writer, producer of many things out in Hollywood. You're always working, you're hobnobbing, you're doing big things. But first and foremost, as it is in the world nowadays, you are a podcaster.
Yeah.
Because podcasting it comes from the heart. Writing
Yes.
and producing is for the check.
Right.
You know, that keeps the lights on.
Right.
But podcasting comes from the heart. And I have a feeling that the Notorious Women podcast is close to your heart as well.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. Our tagline is some are heroic, some are horrific, but they're all notorious because, misogyny being what it is, gentlemen, you know this because and one thing I like about your show is that you guys are definitely pro women. I can't always say that about, male led shows.
That's true.
But, sometimes a woman does something really wonderful in the world and she's notorious, Ida B. Wells, at the time of her life. And then sometime, can we curse on this show?
Absolutely.
Sometimes bitches be tripping and they are actually terrible.
Yes.
So, Griselda Blanco is like trying to kill children while she's selling cocaine,
Yes. So many
so-
things wrong in that one sentence.
So me and my co-host Miriam, we started the podcast. We had an earlier iteration of it back in 2017, and it was just an opportunity to talk about different kinds of women. Sometimes women who you've never heard of, and then some are a lot more popular, who've had a lot more exposure, but also I'm a
Notoriety.
true crime personally. Yeah, exactly. I'm a true crime person, so I love a murderess. I mean, my very first one was Hannah Mary Tabbs, who is from Philadelphia, actually, or her crimes were in Philadelphia in the 1890s.
Oh, wow.
She disembodied her lover, who she was having an affair with while she was living with her much older husband, who was a Civil War veteran.
Okay.
And she totally played the race card and got away with murder, only serving about 2 years, you know?
So this was a black woman
This is a black woman.
who murdered some black men, or?
She murdered a black man. She cut him up.
Okay.
And she had parts of his body. She was disposing of them on different parts of his body throughout the city.
Sure.
And in Philadelphia. And unfortunately, they found a torso. And he was a very light-skinned man, so at first they thought it was a white man. So that is why the public was interested in it. And then also it's very brutal.
Interesting.
And it was just such a fascinating story, because the preeminent scholar on this is a black professor. And she said that she was fascinated about black women who were not good girls. You know, black women who basically, Hannah Mary Tabbs got away with murder.
Right.
And she put the blame on other people. And this was also one of the first crimes in Philadelphia that shed a light on how the black community was being ignored in the area. Because basically the cops wouldn't come. And then black residents, even today, wouldn't call the cops because they'd just come and brutalize the black citizens. And Hannah Mary Tabbs apparently was brutalizing other black people within her community and getting away with, she would like beat people up and like, she's a terrible human being, like terrible.
Okay.
So, you know, she's fascinating to me. But then someone like Coretta Scott King, who has a much more militaristic kind of stance to her civil rights work than Martin had. And like a lot of people don't know that. You know, so we sort of mix it up on Notorious Women, you know. Miriam is a lot more about like, oh, let's talk about the lady who did this nice thing. And I'm like, what about Belle Gunnis, who killed like 25 people?
Because there are multitudes within womanhood.
Exactly.
Yeah, very nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
That's
Thank you.
That's interesting to have you'd never think you'd have a podcast that is both inspired by Coretta Scott King and a woman who dismembered.
I know, and just as podcasts go, I always say I love a podcast with sort of an engine that's never going to run out of fuel.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love the concept.
Thank
just
you.
From the
Yeah,
from the level of craft of podcasting.
Yeah.
So very nice.
Thank you. So check us out, guys, if you want to know more. And suggestions. We are open to suggestions. There's so many women throughout the world, you know, so we love to go to, I'm a big, I studied Asian studies in college. And so I love my Japanese female killers. You know, or gang members.
You seem to have a violent streak that runs through a lot of the ones that you seem to be promoting for the show.
A lot of rage, okay? Unfortunately, they usually take it out on children or, you know, people weaker than them. But, you know, sometimes they focus it on doing good in the world. So, you know.
Okay.
Which you should. That's better. Don't kill people. Don't do that.
Don't kill people. We
don't murder people.
Don't murder people.
Her last name is Cannon. I don't know what she's happening. I'm just going to stay over here and mind my business. Well, thank you for joining the show.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm glad that you are a fan of the show. And that's why Lavetta is here. She was like, no, I'm here from the beginning. I want the misses from the missionaries. I want
full experience.
I'm here for the whole mission.
All right.
So that's what's up.
All right.
And speaking of missives from the missionary, let's get to our emails.
All right.
Which are our missives from the missionaries.
Emails, Vincent.
Ooh, missives from the missionaries.
Ooh.
Missives from the missionaries.
All right, Vincent,
All right.
Lavetta, we have an email from Nicole Sherman.
Hey, what's up, Nicole?
Hey, Vincent, Len. Great show. You two make me want to rewatch the films you guys review for not only enjoyment, but critical analysis.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
A side note, I love Vince.
All right.
I love that Vince and I are huge fans of the classic Boomerang.
Yes.
A wonderful film all around. Excuse me. I like Boomerang too.
You want to be in the Boomerang Club with me and Nicole?
I like Boomerang.
And me. I'm in that one. Yep.
All right.
Boomerang. Come on.
Right, Lavetta? We like Boomerang too.
Well, we
Nicole.
thought maybe it was just me and Nicole.
No, I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry. It's not just you and Vince. Can't have Vince all to yourself. We're there too. Open the door.
Right.
I swear, man.
What are you yelling at me? I'm just sitting here.
As a matter of fact, Lavetta.
Oh, for God's sake.
What? We're gonna set some records straight here tonight, my friend. Lavetta, as she came on, ladies and gentlemen, before the cameras came on, she made sure to say, "Hey, you know what? I actually want to point out that I actually agree with Len on some things."
Right.
What were you telling me right before the cameras came on, Lavetta?
Yes.
You weren't even here. You were in the restroom. Go ahead, Lavetta. Tell them.
But I will say this: you need to put some respect on Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon's name, okay?
Now, see? No. Now, you wanted to open the door.
She
now the door's
me.
Now the door's open.
Me.
Now the door's open.
But Len, your reaction to Blank Man tickled me to no end. And I was like, how can you love Blank Man and find no joy for Bruce Leroy?
He's a complicated man. He's a complicated man.
Okay, it's the same silliness as Blank Man. You giggled and I giggled with you. I said, you know what? I'm gonna cut Len some slack, because the way you reacted to Blank Man was so joyful. I was like, I love him so much.
Yes, but that's because Blank Man.
Oh, forget. Here we go.
Look, Blank Man was a guy who wanted to be a superhero. That was outside of his brain and his magnificent gadgets. He had absolutely no aptitude for being a superhero except the size of his heart. Right? That was it. Bruce Leroy, on the other hand, we are meant to believe has the glow, and is actually
why are you saying
a
so
kung fu
He
artist.
clearly had the glow.
He clearly had the glow.
The
man could only work one nunchuck, and even that not
the
well.
glow comes from within. The whole
he a karate
movie
man.
deconstructed the myth of a master. That's the point of the whole movie. The man gave him the emblem to go find the master, and come to find out it was a belt buckle, because he was saying this was all from within.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all there in the film.
Yeah.
Can we continue with the letters, please?
Len,
sir?
Also, I have a question.
Yes.
How can you giggle so much about Blank Man, as silly as it is, and not find that the man's name is Eddie Arcadian, not because he's Armenian, it's because he owns arcades. How can you not like a movie because the character's named Eddie Arcadian because he owns arcades? Come on now.
Also, Leroy's little brother escapes from being tied up by breakdancing. He breakdances out of the ropes.
Come on. But
Nicole continues.
I will say, Blank Man, I agree with you. I thought it was very joyful.
There you go.
Thank you, Lavetta.
I'm not a huge fan.
Well, just because you don't like kittens. Anyway, Lavetta has a question for both of us to answer. And
you mean Nicole?
Excuse me, Nicole.
Yes.
Has a question for both of us to answer, and Lavetta can answer as well.
All right.
If you could pick one black movie that you have reviewed on the show and recast it, what would the movie be? who would be the new cast and why? I'll let you go with that. Happy November and happy early holidays to you both. Love, blessings, and grace to you two gentlemen. Thank you, Nicole. That's a cool question. If we could pick one black movie that we've reviewed and recast.
My goodness.
The first one that comes to my mind is Blackula.
I knew you were going to go to Blackula.
Because we've been saying up and down that Blackula needs to be actually taken seriously, redone. So that would, it would necessitate a recasting.
Yeah.
Recasting as Blackula, who would I get? Because I don't want to go too old. Because there's an argument to be made that Wilbur Marshall was maybe a little bit older than you may want, considering that if you're going to remake it, you're hoping that you're going to be able to pull a franchise out of it. So maybe not quite that old, but you don't want to go too young. So I'm going to go with... Scheiße. No, not him. I'm going to go with... what's his name? I might be mispronouncing his name. Is it Wylan Noel, who was in? He was in The Photograph, and he was also in Insecure.
I know who you're talking about.
Very dark-skinned gentleman.
Yeah.
I think it's like Y apostrophe, then like a lean. Y lean maybe? Noel.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I could see him as Blackula.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the easy one that I've been wanting for years. Eddie Murphy in the lead role in Top 5 instead of Chris Rock.
Eddie Murphy. Okay.
I've said that the entire time. Like from the moment Top 5 came out, I said, I wish Eddie Murphy was in this role instead of Chris Rock.
You don't think Eddie Murphy's maybe a little old already?
I think even at 60, Eddie Murphy would be fine in that role.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. What do you think, Lavetta?
Well, I mean, I agree with Vincent. I'm a big Eddie Murphy fan. I love Eddie Murphy. But with Blackula, I would go with Yahya. Was it Yahya?
I was thinking of Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
I think Yahya could play the hell out of Blackula. Like,
he was actually my first choice, but he's Candyman.
Right, because the Candyman.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He's so good. I love him in everything. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was actually the first person that came to my mind.
Sure.
In that sweet spot, maybe not too old, too young.
Right.
But Candyman, took it out of there. But I think Blackula is ripe for reinterpretation.
We keep talking about it. Rodney Barnes, and shout out to Rodney Barnes, has folded him into his Philadelphia. It's a little bit of heat in nerd world with Blackula. I feel like there's going to be some Blackula movement in the next 3 years.
Come on, Jordan Peele. Come on, Jordan Peele. Come on.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, who's the other brother in Fences that plays the son?
Oh, he's
the
not
younger
really
son.
Young though.
Yeah.
I'm looking right at him.
You know him, lighter skinned guy. He was in the Hate U Give.
I didn't see The Hate U Give.
Oh, is it Russell Hornsby?
Russell Hornsby.
Yeah,
Russell Hornsby's good.
I think
great,
he might be in that really even better than Wyland, because he might be.
And he's never gotten the roles that he should have gotten.
No, yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's good. Oh.
Okay.
Now it's coming to me.
All right.
No. Blackula. Coleman Domingo.
Domingo, can't go wrong with him.
There it is.
There it is.
Can't go wrong.
Book it. I'm there.
All right.
All day.
I'm there.
Do you have anything to recast?
I'm trying to think of something that I listened to recently. I mean, other than Soul Plane, they need to remake the whole movie. Let me try and think. You know what? I'm a big oh God, I'm a big fan of it. And why am I escaping? Why are names escaping me? Because I'm in Florida. Excuse me, guys. Paul Robeson fan. I'd like somebody to remake a Paul Robeson. Is it The Gates? What's the one you guys reviewed?
Oh, Within Our Gates.
Within Our Gates.
Within Our Gates.
Yeah.
I'd like somebody to remake a Paul Robeson film, and maybe that, because he's very statuesque, so maybe that's a Yaya vehicle.
Yeah.
Because he was way before his time. Like when I discovered who he was and I went back, I was like, how is this? I actually wrote a script based on an actress like stalking him back in the 30s, because he was just everything. They were not ready for that chocolate man, that big chocolate man. They were not ready for him in Hollywood. No. So, but yeah, Within Our Gates, I think that would be a great one to remake.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And you think about it, this sort of newer crop of actors. Coleman Domingo, I think, is a tall guy. Like a tall, kind of broad. Like you don't who's the James Earl Jones, Paul Robeson, tall, broad-shouldered guy?
I mean, Yaya's tall and broad. He's got the big shoulders.
Yeah. He's leaner than Paul Robeson.
Everybody's leaner than Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson, man, that's a big dude, man.
It's like Paul Robeson and John Henry.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know if we're going to get that.
Right, that guy.
No, we're not going to get that guy anymore. That guy is making $2 million an hour on an NBA court right now.
Right.
It's LeBron.
Right.
So, all right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole. We got an email from Michael Sykes.
Hey, what's up, Michael?
Of course. Looks like he's catching up, because this one is in regards to the whacking. No, excuse me. I'm sorry. The blackening. Ooh.
The blackening.
You see what Michael did there?
I do.
He says, I saw the whacking in the movies, and let me tell you, this was so boring. I did not hear one laugh. It wasn't packed, but it was a lot of people. I was bored. I was so bored that oh my God. I was so bored I farted in the movies just to get some type of interest going on. Michael is taking a turn.
We don't pre-read these emails.
We did this live. I was so bored I learned the true meaning of your and you, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. I was so bored that I memorized a whole section in the dictionary on my phone, watching it again at home. The guy who played the second Lionel, jumping to another topic that we talked about, was horrible. I can back that up. And 30 others I know. So, Len, you are not alone. Also, Len, don't be alone. Don't be alone. I don't know how to play spades either.
Okay.
Lavetta, do you know how to play spades?
No, I don't. And I don't care. And I know I'm gonna lose my black card for that, because
no, you're not.
I'd say very defensive about it.
Y'all should not be that upset over a card game. Simmer down now, okay?
I mean, somebody gotta go get the chips, I guess.
See,
that'll be me.
Right.
I don't want to get in a fist fight over a card game.
Michael continues. Skinny Luther Vandross still has great songs, such as. Now, are these great songs?
Okay, these
great?
All right, Skinny Luther, great songs. Let's go.
Here and Now.
Yes.
I actually have a here and now story.
Okay.
One of my dad's side hustles in the 80s is that he was a videographer. So he would video people's weddings.
Okay.
So all through the 80s, every black couple who got married had Here and Now as one of their songs.
Of course.
So I have a real soft spot for Here and Now because I just see a bunch of brothers like letting one thug tear come down as they watch their brides come up the aisle. Okay. So I don't think Here and Now is a good song, but I think it's a great song.
Okay. All right. How about Wait for Love?
Yeah, I'm not a fan for Wait for Love is
Lavetta?
Is that the one that goes, stop, wait for love,
Yes.
stop? Is that the one? Yeah. I mean, I'm Luther, skinny, fat. I like all Luther. Luther. So.
If Only for One Night.
That's not skinny Luther.
Yeah, that's big Luther, ain't it?
That's big sweaty
Is that
Luther.
big?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, but okay, I have you guys have to explain something to me. What's Luther big? Then he was skinny, then he was big again? Like,
Well,
yeah.
so how do you distinguish between big and skinny Luther?
Well,
Because
he
went
definitely
back.
had a skinny lane.
Yeah.
Like he and when he was skinny, he
I like his Christmas album. That was Skinny Luther.
Was that Skinny Luther?
That's Skinny Luther.
Maybe did he have a big Christmas album?
Big
too?
Luther Christmas. You know, the thing I love about the English language, you never know what kind of combinations of words you're going to get in one sentence. Did they have a Big Luther Christmas album? You like did a Mad Libs with just words and put them together into a sentence. If I wasn't looking at you, I think you were having a stroke.
Okay. All right. 2 more Skinny Luther songs. So Amazing.
That's a good. Is that Skinny? That might be Skinny.
I think that's Skinny Luther.
That might be
I
Skinny
never
Luther.
liked So Amazing.
Oh, I like So Amazing.
I don't know if I know that one.
It's so amazing, amazing. Love
Oh.
together.
Please stop doing that. You don't sound anything like Luther Vandross.
I sound exactly
and you
like-
real disrespectful
You
right
sound
now.
like real
Like this is
skinny, hungry Luther.
Like this is real.
He
disrespectful.
hungry.
What's the next song?
It would be amazing.
Don't do that.
Amazing.
Don't do that.
Bringing me a chicken.
Okay.
Oh, not a
Okay.
chicken. Come on
What's
now.
the last song?
Poor Luther.
This is why people get angry with you.
Yeah.
This is shit right here.
The last one is the Power of Love.
Oh, I don't like the Power of Love.
No?
I don't like the Power
You like
of
the
Love.
Power of Love?
No, I'm lukewarm on that one. That's
Yeah, I
that's
like
one of
the
the few
Power
I'm
of Love.
lukewarm on. So.
But you know, that was that
like
pocket
it-
where
like
he
to
was
hear the
trying to
Power of
make
Love?
that pop music.
Do you want to hear the Power of Love?
Don't.
No,
Go
don't
ahead. Go ahead.
do that.
Well, you know, he's trying to make that pop.
And that's what when he
Right.
went skinny, he went pop because all of a
Right,
sudden he was
right.
feeling himself and he wanted to move.
Look, everybody wanted some of that Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson money, and I'm not mad at him.
No, I ain't back. But yeah, but I
That's
mean,
good money. I have a theory though about Skinny Luther. I feel like after Eddie Murphy made that joke up in Trading Places, you're a big Kentucky Fried Chicken. You know.
That's not a bad theory.
not at all.
I feel like that hurt his feelings. and then he
It
went
is
skinny.
always fascinating what hits. Like I saw, is that CeCe Peniston who has a la da dee da da da?
No, that's Crystal Waters.
Crystal Waters. Crystal Waters talks about that in Living Color skit about her.
Oh, really?
And how that really, you know,
Like, hit her.
like she felt disrespected.
Yeah. Well,
Like you never know.
you never know how it's going to hit people, you know?
Yeah, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but Lynn and I are offline over the past couple of weeks. We're talking about the Milli Vanilli documentary, and it's fascinating. Like who knew what when, and you know I've always said that like black people clocked Milli Vanilli
Right from the door.
early. You know what? I'm not even going to say right from the door, but early. And in Living Color, and I've seen stuff with interviews with I think it's Rob who's still alive, where he talks about that in Living Color skit where Damon and Keenan
Yes.
were making fun of them and saying, you know, I have this really indecipherable accent when I talk. but somehow when I rap, blah blah blah, and they were like, oh, they've seen it. So you might be right about the Skinny Luther and Eddie Murphy joke.
Michael has 2 other points.
Okay.
Tyrese,
the
singer,
yes.
Tyrese, does not make middling R&B music.
I mean, okay.
According to Michael Sykes, he makes great music along with Tank.
No.
Is that what we're doing, Michael? Tank and Tyrese, huh?
No.
Great music.
I don't know if that's exactly what we're doing. But I'll tell you what Michael did. He has tanked his segment here on the Michaud Mission. So we're just going to
Look.
We'll take a break from the Michael Sykes segment of this of the podcast until the new year. Let him recharge his batteries.
Everything don't have to be for everybody. So if you like the music,
and it ain't just because Tank is fine. It's,
right?
No,
right.
it's
well, I was about to say
better.
Tank better keep doing them push-ups. I know that.
I don't believe he went there. I was like, yo, dog. Like I'd give him Jaheim, but like Tank, I'm sorry. Can't go there. All right. That has been our missives from the missionaries, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. If you want to have your thoughts heard, if you want to take over the Michael Sykes portion of the show, feel free to email us at michauxmission@gmail.com. That's michauxmission@gmail.com. Before we continue on with the show, Lavetta Cannon is here, ladies and gentlemen, to help us sit down and deliver us from EVA, the adaptation of The Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare, tonight's installment of the Bards of Shakespeare. As you heard at the top of the show, Lavetta is the co-host of the Notorious Women's Podcast, which you can find everywhere else that you find podcasts. I invite you, while you are looking for that fantastic podcast that are about some notorious women, some of them very good, according to Lavetta, most of them pretty sketchy.
Heroic or horrific.
You be the judge. But while you're looking for that, I invite you to check out another brand new podcast that is hitting the airwaves just this week, that is being brought to you by Push Black. It is a true crime podcast as well, Lavetta. I know you're a lover of true crime podcasts. It is a true crime narrative podcast that talks about a true story from the summer of 1963 in Georgia, when 15 black girls went missing from a protest and were missing for a total of 45 days with no one knowing what happened to them. This is a new 5-part podcast series that I am proud to say that I am one of the producers on, that is available wherever you find podcasts. The Stolen Girls of Americus. This took place back in Americus, Georgia in 1963. The Stolen Girls of Americus, new 5-part true crime narrative podcast, available wherever you find podcasts right now. I invite you to please go check it out. Give us a 5-star rating and review. Let us know what you like about this show. It's a fantastic story. A lot of people don't know this story.
Yeah.
We're bringing it to light, and it was a joy to work on it for the past year.
Excellent. All 5 episodes live?
We have 2 episodes that are live, and then the subsequent episodes will be released on a weekly basis.
Excellent. How long are the episodes?
The episodes range from the length of 35 minutes to 50 minutes.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
A lot of fun, and I, like I said, was one of the producers on the show. It was a joy to work on, and they even wrote me to be one of the voices on the show.
Fantastic.
Ooh,
so congratulations.
Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah.
Sign me up. Yes.
Check it out. Check it out. The Stolen Girls of Americas. And you can also go to the stolengirlsofamerica's.com, where you can find out more information about the show and about Push Black. Philadelphia, not Philadelphia, no. The Nation's.
That's right.
The Nation's leading nonprofit media organization striving for Black liberation all over. All right?
Excellent.
Okay.
Well done.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, and I have one question.
Yes.
When is the movie being made or the series? When can we get this?
I know.
From your lips, let's get the podcast popping first, and we'll see what happens.
Smart.
See, that's the producer talking.
That's right.
That's the producer talking. She's like, let me hit Len on the side.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
We will talk, Lavetta. We could talk. But first, it is time for the top 5.
Top 5.
Top 5. Who's your top 5? My top 5 is. My top 5 is. My top 5 is. My top 5 is.
Top 5, ladies and gentlemen, where I come up with a cool list, and Vincent and Lavetta will give us their scintillating commentary on it. Mm-hmm. Now,
okay,
you know me, I love a theme. We are talking about a film, Deliver Us from Eva, which stars Gabrielle Union.
Yes, sir.
And LL Cool J.
Yes.
2 huge celebrities who one might think would go very well together.
You would think.
We shall find out.
We shall.
In our review. But the eyeball test, as I looked at all of the posters promoting Deliver Us from Eva, led me to believe that, I don't know if I would have put the two of them together.
Interesting.
As leads in a film.
Okay.
I don't know if I would have done that. This is still fairly young in Gabrielle Union's career, but LL, of course, a hip hop star of note for quite some time.
An icon.
But by 2003, when Deliver Us from Eva comes out, has already made a name for himself as an actor.
Yeah.
On television and in the movies.
Yeah, like the hat is completely gone.
Yeah, right.
Like that's how you know you're pretty far along in LL's acting career.
Right, exactly. So, I don't know if they necessarily have the chemistry that I would want for leading my film.
Okay.
But it got me to thinking about other times when the chemistry maybe was just not right.
Okay.
In Black rom-coms.
It was not a perfect combination.
Not at all.
It was not love plus you and me.
You know, someplace our dear friend Toya is throwing something at the TV. Anyway, so that got me thinking of the top 5 chemistry underloads.
Okay. All right.
Times when the chemistry was perhaps off.
Okay. All right.
See whether or not you and Lavetta agree with me.
It's interesting because off the top of my head, I can think about at least once LL could show up again.
You know what? I didn't want to pick on anyone that we were...
That was actually...
Right. So I didn't pick on LL or Gabrielle Union.
Okay. All right.
Okay. But at number 5, I do have a movie that we did pick apart. And this was Halle Berry and Joseph C. Phillips from 1991, Strictly Business.
Right.
Which was a film which saw Joseph C. Phillips as Wayman, who is a great job in real estate, but he's also trapped in a loveless long-term relationship until he meets Natalie, played by Halle Berry, a beautiful club-hopping hipster, and quickly falls in love and seeks the help of his friend Bobby, played by Tommy Davidson, to help him win Halle Berry's heart. This is a combination that was DOA. dead on arrival. And this is very young in Halle Berry's career.
Maybe her
First like
film
starring role.
Yeah.
Joseph C. Phillips, they're trying to see whether or not they can make this positioning with him. Does he have the chops to be at least a rom-com leading man?
Sure.
He's not going to be James Bond.
Tall, good-looking guy.
Tall, good-looking man.
Seems like we should at least, see what happens.
Right. Give him a funny guy to bounce off of, and Tommy Davidson.
Right.
And let them, the sparks fly.
Right.
The sparks never left the chamber.
Yeah. It's a shame. I don't know, I'm probably in a small group of people. I liked him on The Cosby Show.
Really?
I liked the way he and Lisa Bonet bounced off of each other.
Well, okay, maybe but that's because Lisa Bonet is so far the other end.
And it may be because Lisa Bonet had the energy. And like you said, Halle Berry is so young and so inexperienced in this role that she couldn't make up the
difference, right?
That someone like Lisa Bonet could pick up. But yeah, I agree. It's a bad pairing.
What about you? Are you a fan of Strictly Business, Lavetta?
Yeah, I agree. I think that the problem with him is that he obviously, someone was looking for a Sidney Poitier type that they could make into rom-coms, and he has the looks but he doesn't have that it factor, that charm that Sidney Poitier had.
Yeah.
It's because even in other things I've seen him in, he just doesn't, other than The Cosby Show. I liked him in The Cosby Show too, but he just, it takes a specific kind of skill to do rom-coms. Not everybody can do them. So.
No.
Yeah.
And I think with Sidney Poitier, what people never acknowledge is that there's a real sort of dancer's grace to Sidney Poitier.
Yeah, you always talk about that.
Where I think people kind of think Sidney Poitier and they think of him as this static figure. Like, good looking guy in a suit. But the secret of Sidney Poitier is his movements. And we never, no one ever talks about that. So again, with Joseph C. Phillips, tall, good looking guy in a suit, he can be a Sidney Poitier type.
Yeah.
But he, like you said, the charisma, the physicality is just not there.
I think that's the same problem with Boris Kodjoe. Because Boris Kodjoe, he's got the look, he's got the height, but there's just nothing. Yeah, it's nothing there, and there's absolutely zero movement.
Yeah,
from him. Zero grace that shows from the man.
Yeah,
and it's interesting. It could be because Boris is German. German people are not known for their
right.
But I also think that you're right, Vince. I think that people forget Sidney Poitier had a whole career on the stage. And back then with the Negro Ensemble Theater, you studied movement, you studied your craft before you made it out to Hollywood. But he also, he had the it factor too. He, I think he found success in movies because he sort of played the safe, handsome, I always say that the difference between Sidney Poitier and the guy that you hate,
Harry Belafonte.
Harry Belafonte, is that Harry Belafonte had sex appeal.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the grace that Sidney Poitier had. And I think that's the big difference. But yeah, you try. Well, who's the white actor that has been canceled that was in The Lone Ranger?
Armie Hammer.
Very handsome, even for a black woman. I'm like, wow. But they tried to make him a thing. He just does not have the charisma that, Hugh Jackman has. He just doesn't have it.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100% absolutely right. And I never understood why they were bigging him up like that, because I didn't see it. I didn't see it. But you do make a good point about the German thing with Bards. That's probably something I should keep in mind when thinking about the man. So thank you, Lavetta. All right. Number four.
Number four.
We're going to stay in the filmography of one Tommy Davidson.
Okay.
And move ahead 7 years.
Okay.
To his pairing with Jada Pinkett Smith in Woo from 1998. Now, this is what Lipstick Alley had to say about Woo.
Oh, that's quite a source.
It falls into the category of when terrible movies happen to decent actors. Jada Pinkett Smith starred as a beautiful woman who could bring any man to his knees with a bat of her eyelash, yet she couldn't keep a man if the world depended on it. Somehow, the geeky Tommy Davidson scores a date with Woo, and things go crazy. His friends follow them around New York City like the ultimate D-blockers, and did we forget to mention that Woo's friend is dating a dude who has a sexual fetish for chicken. So Woo is not a good movie.
I don't think I've ever seen Woo.
Really? I sat through Woo. I know I sat through it when it first came out, and probably watched it at least one other time on like cable TV.
You've seen Woo twice.
When it comes on cable TV, and it's like, oh, it's Woo. It's Tommy Davis.
Said no one ever.
It's Tommy Davidson when at the height of Tommy Davidson, and I'm a Tommy Davidson fan.
Okay,
becoming a bit of a Jada Pinkett fan. That's why I went to the movies, and then it comes out on cable. You're like, just sit and watch Woo. It's not good. It's not good at all.
No. But you didn't get that from the movies.
Well,
and then you saw it. It's like the old joke. This food is terrible. And such small portions.
Well,
like what are the decisions that you are making with your own life?
I mean, look, I gave it a chance, and then I gave it another chance.
You thought maybe it was going to be a different movie.
Sometimes things play different.
Sometimes play different.
At home,
maybe you missed some of the nuance of Tommy Davidson and Jada Pinkett. In the man with a sexual fetish for chicken.
Lavetta, have you...
I don't remember watching it, but I remember it being terrible. And I remember it...
It was so terrible, she didn't even see it, and she knew it was terrible. It's like an ancestral memory.
Because I like Jada Pinkett, too.
Sure.
Ever since she was on A Different World, I like her. And I remember thinking, this is... Why? So
I mean, you figure I can understand the making of the movie. Jada Pinkett, they're trying to, she's trying to raise her profile. Tommy Davidson is one of the leading comedians of the time.
Sure.
So I understand the making of the movie. It doesn't work. Never would I see Tommy Davidson and Jada Pinkett and see chemistry.
Sure. You know what? Maybe you should watch it a third time.
I will have to.
I was about to say it. I'm talking myself into a corner right now, aren't I?
Just for that, not only will I be watching it in January or February, and it might be good February for Love Month.
Sure.
Not only that, I'm going to book Lavetta for that show so that she can watch it too.
Now, why am I in it?
I was about to say, what's number 3?
Notorious women coming up in this joint causing all type of trouble. Number 3 from 2010.
Okay, recent. Well, I guess it's not that recent. 13 years ago.
Right?
That is crazy.
I know. Who'd have thought Deliver Us from Evil is 20 years old?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Anyway, from 2010, this is a film that we have reviewed, and we commented on the lack of chemistry here.
Okay.
Queen Latifah and Common in Just Right. Now, because we've talked about that already, Lavetta, what are your thoughts on the combination of Queen Latifah and Common in the sports rom-com Just Right?
Awkward. Just watching it, I was like, what is happening? Why is this not working? Like, Queen Latifah. You got Queen Latifah. You got Common, who women love, right? You're like, you got that Chicago voice. It's terrible. Impersonation, but And watching it, I was just like, why? What happened between scenes? They have no chemistry. It's very awkward.
Very.
It's painful to watch. Yeah.
We are adults, all three of us, and adults of like I think our school experience was different than the school experience of kids now, where we're much more sensitive to things and people. But we were all kids in a classroom when that teacher made that one kid read out loud that shouldn't have been reading out loud. And it made all of us uncomfortable. And you felt like the teacher was being cruel by making that kid read out loud. Common is that kid in just right, where I feel like a cruel teacher cast him and made him read the script. He is so terrible in that movie. I felt bad for Common. Now, there's a point where somebody pipes up and says, Common's gotten better. Common's, oh, wait, that's usually you.
Well, he stays in his lane now.
Oh, my.
In their defense, this was what? When did this come out? 2010.
And Lavetta, you said it. Lavetta said it. Queen Latifah is great. She has charisma. She's this, that, and the other. And Common is handsome. Ladies love him. I was like, yeah. That brother not rapping. He shouldn't be talking that much. Great MC.
Yeah.
Great MC.
Yep.
Great MC.
Yep. One of my favorites. Yep.
Ooh, talking now. Ooh.
Not everyone's Tupac and Mos Def.
They can't all be Tupac and Mos Def.
No.
Or Will Smith.
Or Will
They can't.
Smith.
Nope.
Or Cleavon Little.
Not doing
Cleavon
Or
Little.
Lawrence Jacob Hill. Or
You go to Cleavon Little.
or Omar Gooding. You mean Cuba? No, I mean even his little
Omar.
brother. Yeah, Omar. Some people aren't Omar Gooding.
Or Derville Martin.
Or Derville Martin.
Boy. Guess we won't be inviting Common to be a guest on the Me Show Mission anytime soon.
Dude, I love Common.
Me too.
I do. I do. I do.
You just said it.
Like Water for Chocolate is without hyperbole one of my favorite albums. Not hip hop albums, albums. I just don't think that brother's ministry is acting.
Okay.
No. I
All right.
agree.
All right.
Let's keep it moving. Number
Yes.
two.
All right.
Number two. This may be a bit controversial
Okay.
because on the whole, this is not a bad fit, but I think it's just in the wrong movie.
Okay.
And this is fairly recent. It's from 2020. It's Issa Rae and Lakeith Stanfield in The Photograph, which is a good movie.
It's okay.
It's an okay movie.
It's a solid film. It's solid.
It's a solid film, and it's about basically their romance that sparks as the two of them from different ends are doing more or less like an investigation into this history of a photograph of Issa Rae's character's mother.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the backstory of the mother, which we see in flashbacks, and her relationship with the quote unquote love of her life.
Yolande, it's played by that actor.
Yeah,
Which is
speaking of-
played by
yeah.
Yolande. Thank you. Yolande
Yeah.
Noel plays young Isaac Jefferson, and the Ashante Adams plays Christina Eames, Issa Rae's mother, in the flashback.
Yeah.
That romance,
That's the story.
that's the story. And that's the chemistry, because it is bleeding off the screen to the degree that Lakeith and Issa, who actually have familiarity because of working together before, it never percolates. It's never allowed really to percolate on screen.
I was just joking about Common being very good in certain spaces and awkward in others. Issa Rae is so po-faced in the photograph. There's no joy. There's no humor. Like the things that make Issa Rae pop, you know, her personality and everything. Like it's just so kind of, you know, like romantic lead.
Yeah.
That she just, it's just so awkward.
You know what you get the impression?
Which we just kind of find out was her thing, awkward black girl. But,
right.
Yeah.
I get the impression, and I'm definitely want to hear Lavetta's spin on this. I got the impression watching that movie that, one, it was filmed almost, you know, during hiatus of Insecure, and that she is working hard to try and find a character that's not her in Insecure.
Sure.
Because let's face it, she went from awkward black girl, which was pretty much her being her, to then Insecure. So now she's acting a little bit, but it's still her being her. But she's honing her acting. And now I almost got the sense she's trying to find a character that is finally outside of herself.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe just by virtue of the script, not given the space to fully develop it into something really interesting. That was my read on it, because I'm a fan of both of them.
Absolutely.
But curious about your read on that, Lavetta.
No, I agree with you. I sound a little weird. How's that? Is that
Because you said you agree with me? Yes, I understand.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think sometimes with actors, what they do is they think, oh, this should be pensive.
Right.
She's going for a pensive performance. And because she has good chemistry with the guy who played Lawrence on the show. They had great chemistry. Yeah. And Lakeith surprised me. I was not, like, I like him as an actor, but women are like, oh my God, you're so hot. I'm like, I don't see that with Lakeith. But in this performance, I was like, oh, he's actually, but he has a lot more experience.
Yes.
As a lead. And I think I agree with both of you, actually, that she felt awkward to me, actually, because I think she was going for a pensive, quote unquote, pensive performance.
Right.
And it's a shame too, because I did think it was a solid movie, but I think it suffered from the performance, the chemistry, the lack of chemistry between the two. So
yeah.
There
you go. All right, and number one, which is in our chemistry underload, and this one couldn't help but be number one, because I think ultimately the producers agreed with us, because they set this couple up and then they proceeded to tear them down over the course of the projects. And that was Sanaa Lathan and Taye Diggs in the Best Man universe. A couple that was fated for disaster from the beginning of them coming together.
So here's the question, though. Do you think, I'm trying to figure out, is this a case of the tail wagging the dog? Do you think when they cast the Best Man, they didn't think that, like Sanaa Lathan and Taye Diggs had chemistry, and then as time went on, you know, it develops into what happens in the series?
So do I think that they didn't think that?
Right. Like, do you think it was deliberate to set them up like this?
Well, I do think that from the Best Man, as icky as it is, I think you're supposed to kind of be rooting for Taye Diggs and Nia Long.
Right.
To get together.
Because that's the chemistry.
Yeah. Right. So I think and so because of that, I think that, and let's be fair, they probably also are casting this as a one and done movie. They're not thinking there's going to be anything more. So they're casting Sanaa Lathan in basically the thankless role as not Nia Long, but hey, we're going to throw you a carrot because he's going to turn to you at the end and say, oh, well, do you want to get married? Because that's essentially what happens in that movie.
They do have chemistry in Brown Sugar.
Oh, yeah.
They do have chemistry in Brown Sugar.
Yeah.
But I
think it was deliberate. I think it's deliberate. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Mm-hmm. Of course, I agree because I think Harper is the worst fictional character in fiction.
Yes. Is he worse than Iago from Othello?
Iago has a legitimate beef. Harper is just a terrible human being. So, yeah, he's worse than Iago.
Okay. Just figured I'd ask.
Don't get me started on Harper. Yeah, Harper is just a terrible human being. And we all just let it slide because it's Taye Diggs playing him.
How do you feel about that, Lavetta?
Not me. I agree with you. I'm like, you wrote about this and didn't think your friends are going to find out about it? And like, but I also think that Morris Chestnut's character is pretty terrible too.
Yes, I do too.
He's pretty terrible.
He does, but he has a redemption. He was young and,
Yeah, but I'm tired of this, like, you need to ride with me and earn my love while I treat you like crap.
Mm-hmm,
like, I feel like there's a lot of those movies from the 90s that I'm like, even then I was like, what is this? No. So.
But he was in his 20s and he matured and he got better. Whereas Harper in Best Man Holiday is a terrible human being who takes advantage of Mia dying to try and get this book deal. Harper in his 40s and 50s in The Best Man in the Final Chapters again and again is he's a terrible person. This is not just youthful indiscretion.
And he's a terrible person who hides behind, you don't see him coming.
That's true.
And these are the kind of guys that women have to deal with. Like, you don't see that guy coming because they tell you to look out for this guy, the player, and sometimes it's those ones that look like nerdy and those are the ones that you don't see coming.
Look,
and that's I agree with you completely. He's terrible. He's a terrible.
Speaking of Insecure, and I'm the biggest fan of the writing on Insecure. There is a moment in Insecure when Lawrence is dating that other girl. And that girl says, you're a fuckboy, but you're worse than a fuckboy. You're a fuckboy that thinks you're a nice guy. And I said, wow, Issa Rae is right. Like, they are writing right now.
Yep.
And
every woman in that writing room had that experience. You're like, oh, this is who you are.
Yeah. All right. And any chance I get to talk about how terrible Harper is always a good day.
I teed you up, my friend. All right. That has been the top 5, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. It is now time for the Game of Kings.
The Game of Kings.
Where we will all, including Lavetta, sit back and be amazed.
Easy.
At the skill.
Ooh, that's
one Vincent
Williams.
Williams.
A strong word right there.
It is time for 6 Degrees of Derville Martin.
It's like a bit above a bar trick.
6 Degrees of Derville Martin, ladies and gentlemen, where I will give Vincent an actor and he will have 6 movies or less to connect this actor to that 70s walking chemistry set, if you will.
Had chemistry with himself.
Not going to touch that. Derville Martin.
That's not what he said.
And for tonight's 6 Degrees of Derville Martin. Vincent has a lifeline in our very special guest, Lavetta Cannon of the Notorious Women podcast. Are you ready, Lavetta?
Yes. Oh, yes.
All right.
All right.
Keeping it in theme.
Thematic.
In the chemistry theme.
Okay.
These are famous chemists from the movies.
Famous chemists from the movies.
Yes.
I like it.
Oh.
So starting with number one.
Number one.
Perhaps the most famous chemist from the movie.
Okay.
From 1963's The Nutty Professor.
Oh!
One Jerry Lewis.
Jerry Lewis. Hello, ladies.
Hello, lady.
It's White Haven. All right. How do I want to get to Jerry?
I'm curious, how familiar are you with the filmography of Jerry Lewis?
I'm very familiar.
Okay.
Very, yeah.
All right.
Hey, I love Jerry Lewis. Actually, love Jerry Lewis.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean, look, man. The easiest way to get to Jerry Lewis is, of course,
I know which movie you're going to use.
which movie?
That you're going to land one?
Yeah.
I would imagine it's probably King of Comedy.
The King of Comedy is a good one because then you just go right through De Niro.
Right.
But we're going to keep it hip cat, and we'll just say that Derville Martin is in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Sidney Poitier. Mm-hmm. Sidney Poitier is, of course, in Porgy and Bess with Sammy Davis Jr.
Yes.
Who is in, you know what? Let's do, is he in Sergeants 3 with Dean Martin?
Sammy Davis is... I don't think he's in Sergeant's 3.
He's not in Sergeants 3?
I think that's just Frank and Dean.
That's Frank and Dean. Then let's do Robin and the Seven Hoods.
Okay.
Let's do Robin and the Seven Hoods. We could also do Cannonball Run 2 with Dean Martin. And then Dean Martin is, of course, in
Take Your Pick.
Take Your Pick.
But you need to name one.
I need to name one with Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin.
Since you love them.
I do love them. Of course, now I can't think of any of the actual names of the movies.
I want exact title.
Oh, that's funny because the Jerry Lewis movies that I love
Are not the ones
Dean
with
Martin's
Dean Martin.
not in it. How about that? Okay. In that case, I'll go, oh, that is really funny. I cannot think of the name of a Jerry Lewis Dean Martin movie.
Well, what are the Jerry Lewis movies that are coming to your mind? But we mentioned the King of Comedy.
Right, like
Nutty Professor.
Nutty Professor, and what's the joint where he's the little girl's guardian and plays all the different people.
Oh, that's is that Who's Mind in the Store? No, that's not Who's Mind in the
It's
Store.
not in the store.
The Family Jewels, I think.
Oh, that is Family Jewels. I love that. Nobody really likes Family Jewels. Give me one so we can keep going.
Well, the first one is my friend Irma.
Okay, sure. My friend Irma.
Or you could have went with The Sad Sack.
Okay.
Oh no, excuse me. We're doing the Dean Martin movies. You could have went with The Stooge.
Probably The Stooge.
Or the other famous one, a good one, was Artists and Models. Was not a bad one either.
Okay, all right.
I mean, they did quite a number.
Yeah.
Quite a number.
Yeah.
You did good. I mean, you knew where to go.
Yeah,
I figured that might stump you once you got to Dean Martin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's cool. Very good.
Yeah.
All right, Vince.
All right.
The next chemist, and you didn't even have to use your lifeline.
I didn't, so I have 2 lifelines.
It's only Lavetta.
There's only one. All right, go ahead. All right.
It's only one Lavetta.
All right, go ahead. I just asked her twice.
This is another famous chemist
Famous chemist.
from the movies.
Okay.
Known as a chemist. He starred in. I want to make sure I get the name of the film correct. Mm-hmm. Yes. From 1961.
1961. We're back 2 more years. All right, what we got?
As he was the star of The Absent-Minded Professor.
Uh-huh.
one Fred McMurray.
Fred McMurray. Now, see, okay. Fred McMurray is tough.
Yeah, you're going to have to do some gymnastics on this one, my friend. But I could get you there real quick.
Did Fred McMurray play Herman Munster?
No.
All right.
No! You were joking.
No, he didn't.
Yes, no, he didn't. Never.
Is Fred McMurray the judge in My Cousin Vinny?
No, that's Herman Munster.
That's Herman Munster again.
That's Fred Gwynn.
Fred Gwynn. All right. What you think, Lavetta? What you got?
Oh God, I have no idea. I'm usually pretty good at my old movies. Fred McMurray.
Fred McMurray plays horribly. No, he actually is great against type in one of my favorite movies of all time.
Right, because is he in a Hitchcock movie as a killer?
No. You're thinking of him as a killer in a movie, but it's not a Hitchcock movie. It is a classic murder movie.
What am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Double Indemnity.
That's not Hitchcock.
That's not Hitchcock.
And then, hell, who else is in Double? Is that Grace Kelly?
No, she's not. It's too old.
It's another famous blonde, though.
Yeah, who's the blonde in that?
Barbara Stanwyck.
Barbara Stanwyck.
There's another huge star in that film, but that's probably not going to help you.
Who's the other huge star?
Edward G. Robinson. That may help you. Edward G. Robinson. If you think of another 70s movie that I know you love and he was in.
Wait. No. It's Edward G. Robinson in Soylent Green?
There you go.
There it is. Okay. Well, then we'll have a little fun then. Because Derville Martin is again in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Sidney Poitier. Mm-hmm. But Sidney Poitier is in Uptown Saturday Night with Rosalind Cash.
Right.
Rosalind Cash is in Omega Man with Charlton Heston, who is in Soylent Green with Edward G. Robinson.
Who's in, you got to say it.
Oh, Double Indemnity.
Indemnity
with
Fred McMurray.
Fred McMurray. I was so excited because I got to do two of my Charlton Heston movies from the 70s.
Yeah, you're in your bag now.
I am.
You're happy. The quicker way to go there would have been Derville in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Sidney Poitier, who's in The Defiant Ones with Tony Curtis.
Okay.
Who's in Some Like It Hot with Jack Lemmon.
Yeah. Okay.
Who is in The Apartment with Fred McMurray.
The Apartment with, boy, that's your movie right there.
Oh, dude.
That is your movie right there. You and The Apartment should get married.
The Apartment is one of the best movies of all
I know.
time.
You love Your Apartment.
Yep. It's one of the best movies. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't seen it.
I haven't. And you've been telling me to watch it for years.
Yes.
Like literally for years. It always
I saw it in
comes up.
college. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
When I was going down my rabbit hole of films. Yeah.
It's Billy Wilder, right?
Billy Wilder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it still holds up.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
It still holds up. I watch that movie every year.
It's not like Mickey Rooney playing an Asian man at all.
No.
That's not Mickey Rooney.
No.
Got like some tape and he's taping his eyes.
No.
No Mickey Rooney.
No.
No Mickey Rooney. All right.
No. You're being real slick now.
I'm just saying. You said it holds up, but you always gotta be on the lookout for Mickey Rooney.
All right, well, no.
Playing an Asian man.
Marlon Brando played an Asian man too.
Yes, he did.
In what?
Marlon Brando also, for some reason in the movie Sayonara, has a terrible, terrible Southern accent. I don't know why. Why he shows up with a Southern accent. Why?
That's true.
Is it as egregious as John Wayne playing Genghis Khan?
I knew you were going to go there.
We as the Huns got to take over this territory.
But is that any more egregious than Laurence Olivier playing Othello?
I mean, look, Sidney Poitier was too busy playing a Moor in the Longships with that wig on. So,
God. All right, let's get this. All right.
The point is, what the hell was going on in Hollywood?
It's called the Hays Code.
How about
Non-white people can't be on screen with white people.
Yeah. That's
crazy.
real talk. That's real movie history right there.
There you go.
We Bojangling, and you bringing up real history.
We Bojangling.
I just saw one with Betty Davis, who I love, and boy, there's a white lady in there doing yellow face, and I was like, "What am I watching? What am I watching?"
Well, it's funny because we talked a few years ago about the first Imitation of Life, where poor what's our girl's name? Not
The
Frida.
daughter, it's played by Freddie Washington played it in the 30s.
Yes, right? Freddie Washington.
Yeah, this Freddie Washington.
Yeah, poor Freddie Washington. They have to keep her on the side of the room because they can't let that colored girl too close to the white actors.
Nope.
So she's just frustrated the whole movie.
Yeah.
I know. That's about her.
Yeah.
That's about her. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
That
was 6 Degrees of Derville Martin, ladies and gentlemen. Now it is time for the reason you are here.
Yes.
As Lavetta Cannon from the Notorious Women podcast helps us break down and possibly delivers us from EVA. Coming next. Like right now. All right.
To be continued right now.
Deliver Us from EVA, a 2003 romantic comedy starring LL Cool J and Gabrielle Union, revolving around LL's character Ray being paid to date a troublesome young woman named Eva, played by Gabrielle Union. It is considered by many as a modern update of William Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew, and also stars Essend Atkins, Dwayne Martin, Mel Jackson, Megan Good, and Robin Lee, and one D'Artagnan Edmonds in a film directed by Gary Hardwick and selected by our guest, Lavetta Cannon, for this stop on the Michaud mission. Lavetta, what say you of Deliver Us from EVA?
Well, I remember, I've always liked this film. And I remember when I got it on video, DVD, when I rented it from an old school video store. And one of the reasons I picked this film is because I love an old school rom-com. Like Pillow Talk is the altar at which I kneel. That is my jam, Pillow Talk. And so anything that has like a uptight career woman versus an oversexed heel of a man, I'm there, right? And this is what this movie promised. Deliver Us from EVA. Also that it's loosely based on The Taming of the Shrew by Shakespeare. You know, I was intrigued. You know, I love 10 Things I Hate About You, which was also an adaptation that came out a few years earlier than this film. So I thought, a Shakespeare adaptation with Black people in it, sign me up, right?
Right.
I'm all into this, right? And also, I mean, I love LL Cool J and I love Gabrielle Union, both. And I'm a sucker for this rom-coms, particularly the ones from the late 90s to the mid 2000s, like The Wedding Planner, Monster-in-Law, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, What Women Want. You know, it's that sort of like aspirational, like Pillow Talk. The woman has a fabulous job. she's gonna, they hate each other, and then they come together,
Right.
they fall in love, that kind of thing. It's not real, but I love it.
And just so people that are looking it up, to let them know, Pillow Talk, isn't that Doris Day and Rock Hudson?
That's Doris Day and Rock Hudson. That's right. It's one of my favorite. There's some stuff that doesn't age that well, but their chemistry is off the chain. It's like, it's sort of like His Girl Friday, Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell. It's that, it's that kind of like chemistry. It's classic. So, and I feel like in the late 90s, early 2000s, with the advent of probably the Julia Roberts rom-com like ilk, I think, and then J-Lo had her own lane, and Katherine Heigl later on. So it's just like, career woman, aspirational. They live in apartments that you don't know how they can afford these apartments, that kind of thing. So with Black people, I'm like, sign me up. And then it's loosely based on Shakespeare. Now, let me just preface this by saying I've always liked this film. So
be nice,
going
Lynn.
back, knowing that I had to do it for the show, going back, I had to watch it with a critical eye. And many years later from when it has come out, like what did we say? It's 20 years old now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20 years old. So came out 2003. So now what I did like about it, I love the opening scene.
Okay.
That, you're all I need to get by. I thought that was so cute and clever. And I didn't remember that from the first time I watched it until I watched it recently. And I thought, oh, this is so cute. Gabrielle Union is so beautiful. Okay.
Oh my God.
She's flawless.
We've established she's a vampire.
Ridiculous.
She pretty much looks the same. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. And I think this is her first lead, real
it
lead.
Is.
So I like that. I also like that she's chocolate. People forget that Gabrielle Union is a chocolate sister, but chocolate girls like me and us chocolate girls don't miss out on that.
I've actually never for one moment forgotten that Gabrielle Union is chocolate.
She's chocolate. She's milk chocolate. She's chocolate.
Okay.
And you rarely, even with Black rom-coms, you rarely see a chocolate girl being the lead and the object of desire.
Right. Yeah.
But not only just desire, what I love about it is that she's the object of adoration. It's not just sexual desire, but she's put up on a pedestal in a way that many Black women, and particularly chocolate Black women, you don't get to see them do that. And in that position. Now, Kim Whitley is a national treasure.
Yes.
She had a lock on oversexed, slightly older, but not quite middle-aged Black women during this time. Like, was it Friday? Next Friday? She's hilarious. And also shout out to Royale Watkins, who plays those two together. I could watch a whole film with just those two. Like, I thought that was really cute. I love that. I also liked Mel Jackson, the guy who played Tim.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I thought he and Essence had the great chemistry.
Amen.
I thought that he was great. I always liked him on Is it Living Single he was on?
Yeah.
Now he should have been in that movie instead of Common, because he and Queen Latifah got great chemistry. But it was Queen Latifah, or was it Kim Fields? He had the. Was Queen Latifah,
I think it was Kim
right?
Fields.
Yeah, that was
Kim
like
Fields?
the last season that he
Yeah,
shows up
yeah.
on Living Single. So
I liked him. I also love that as a writer myself, one of the things you struggle with is coming up with your lead's occupation.
Okay.
It's always like marketing, some like, vague like corporate job.
right, we have to work on the account.
Yeah. Right. So I love that they made her a
Health inspector.
food inspector.
Yeah.
And him, a guy who sells meat. I thought that was like very clever. I love the scene at the mayor's event. I love that how, Black women often don't get the rescue scene where someone comes in and saves us. Someone comes in and has our back when we're like, confronted with an ex or like, so I love that scene and how it was done. I also love how the guy's plan backfired. And I should say that even though this is loosely based on The Taming of the Shrew, it veers wildly from the story, the plot points of The Taming of the Shrew. But I love how the guy's plan backfired and it kind of changes course. I also love how the husbands and boyfriends are the comic problematic relief.
Yeah.
You know, some of the one-liners, you embezzled the booty. I love that. I love that. I think it's just silly. I love I love this sort of era of rom-coms. And I love the ending scene, the fairy tale.
Mm-hmm.
She literally gets ridden away on a white horse with her Prince Charming.
Although she's the one riding, and she's
the one that's riding,
and he's the one, the passenger.
He's the passenger. I love that. Now, what I didn't like.
Okay.
So, it mostly lies in the script. I just think it would have been better had they stuck a little bit more closely to the story points of, the taming of the shrew, where they want to date the sisters. And I don't mind the 3 sisters instead of 1 sister from the original text, but I just felt like if they had stuck closer to the story points, it wouldn't have meandered as much as it did.
Exactly.
The film just sort of meandered too much for me. It became very muddled. And if you're going to do that, I think ultimately for me, I feel like the director just didn't have a strong creative vision for the film. Because tonally, it was all over the place.
Yes.
You start off with that dance sequence, which is lovely, right? It's an homage to Motown, to the 60s sort of romance, old school dating kind of style. And then they go and they open the thing, I guess, which is a nod to fairy tales, okay. And then there's a voiceover.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, there's a voiceover.
It's almost a Sunset Boulevard type deal,
which is irregular throughout the film. Like if you're gonna have a voiceover, it needs to come in a little bit more often if that's what you're gonna do. And then when they do that we call those quick shots where they're in the funeral home, and then the guys are pretending to cry, and then they cut to them like dancing what they're thinking in their head. Like it's just, there's a lot going on in the first when you go into the funeral. There's in the first 2 minutes, there's a lot going on, and the tonally it just shifts very, very quickly. I almost wish they had just had the opening dance sequence kind of match. Like, are you going to do a stylized rom-com? That's fine.
Right.
The danger's fun. Like they bring that up, but they kind of drop that. That only seems to be an issue for Dwayne Martin's character. Like, I don't know what that was about.
Yeah.
Also, the men's plan, in the original Taming of the Shrew, which I actually went back and I watched the one with Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton that I'd seen when I was a kid. It does not hold up. It is not good. No. But again, I feel like 10 Things I Hate About You, I hate to say that. I just think they did a much better job. And because that's so close to this film, maybe that's why they sort of detoured off of those story points. But you're going to have to make it just as good or better, I feel like.
Right.
And I feel like also with the guys, like, why did they want Ray to have her fall in love with them, relocate, and then dump her? That just seems especially cruel when you're putting... Yeah, I mean, these guys are terrible, but you're also making them funny. So they seem like, are we supposed to hate them?
Right.
Or,
you don't know. Yeah.
Like, so I was just very confused about how I was supposed to feel about them in general. But the big thing is, and there's a lot of other things I can go down, but the big thing is there's no chemistry. Between Gabrielle Union and LL Cool J.
Yeah.
And I suspect part of it is that this is Gabby's first, Gabby, like I know her first major thing. And she had come out of she was actually in 10 Things I Hate About You, actually, as a supporting role. And I think she basically learned on the set. And I don't think that I always say Gabrielle Union has really white girl energy, kind of like Kerry Washington.
Yeah.
And they can switch it. They can switch it to black girl energy or white girl energy. And I felt there was a little bit of that kind of left, that she's that sort of like supporting role, like sort of smell about her. And I think that while on film, because she's so beautiful that you don't really notice it at first unless you're looking at it like just like what we're doing, dissecting the film. But even I think also the writing failed her. I think that when he tells her, there's always we call that in a rom-com when they share something personal. It's their bonding moment, and that usually happens pretty early on. But when he gets to tell her that he's like an orphan, her character doesn't seem to take that in at all. She doesn't really soften to that.
Not at all.
And even though I do think they do a pretty good job. What I liked about this is that usually, Black women, it seems like the world is obsessed with humbling Black women for some reason, particularly Black women, but they allude to, even the guys say, oh, their parents died when she was 18. And so she had to take over. So they give her some grace in that sense, but then she doesn't give any grace to Ray.
Right.
So I don't know why he likes her. Like, I don't know. Like, there's not a moment where I feel like they really bond or he sees her. He just says it. They tell us, but they don't show us. Like, he says, oh, she's doing charity work and when he's, defending her to the guys, but they never really show that. And there's never really a moment where I feel like they're really connecting. Like what people do when they're actually dating and you realize, oh, I like this guy. Because every woman makes that decision. At some point you think, oh, not just he gonna get the booty, but like, oh, this is my guy.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And they never have that moment.
Never.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I wanted so much more for this, but I also think it's in the writing. Gary Hardwick, I feel like he may have benefited from a female producer.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this was written by a man who is trying his best to create a vehicle for someone like Gabby, who it was time for her to have her lead. But the quality, they didn't give her a lot to sink her teeth into. And so that, coupled with this being her very first lead rom-com, it really failed her in the end, I think.
The movie it was written by James Ivor Madsen, B.E. Brawner, and along with Gary Hardwick. So it was, at least sounds like it was three men. I'm not sure B.E. Brawner.
Yeah.
But you're right. It definitely was a movie that would have benefited by having a woman in the room, in the writing room, to kind of like massage this script. I hear you on Gabrielle Union. Definitely being very young in her career. It's her first starring role, and I do think that there are moments where she's pressing a little bit, probably trying to dust off that supporting role vibe and kind of put her a big girl pants on and flex a little bit. But I actually came away from her performance thinking that I remember, what's the Christmas movie she was in? Is it This Christmas?
Boy,
Almost Christmas.
You are plucking things out of my review right now.
I think it's Almost Christmas.
Yeah,
Almost Christmas. Almost Christmas. And I remember watching that and when we reviewed it and saying like, she's got an ear for comedy that I'm enjoying.
Lynn Webb.
And I think a lot of that is on display here early on in the movie. The script is not good, but I think her instincts are strong in here. It's just that the words and again the direction, like you point out, are letting her down, and that along with her naivete in this particular space, probably pressing a little bit, is what fails her. But I see what she's trying to do, and I'm feeling her. I'm feeling for her with that. The problem to me, because there is a lack of chemistry, is that LL, who does not get a pass at this time in 2003, he's already been the star of his own sitcom at this point, along with supporting, but still been in films. He doesn't get the pass. He is giving her nothing to bounce off at all. Nice looking dude, but he might as well just blend into the wall. Like he is so unaffected, and every line read is the exact same thing. I started counting how many times he said a line and his one eyebrow went up, because that was the level of inflection that he was going to give on the screen. And I stopped at 150. I lie to you not. 150 times this man's one eyebrow would go up with his line. I didn't even bother counting licking of the lips. And I know that that's his vibe.
That's his deal.
That's his deal. But if you're meant to buy that he's coming in as a player, but then he's taking the player game off and actually trying to connect with her, then you need to see that shift in his performance, in the character, and it never comes through on screen at all. You pointed it out. LL, they should have just saddled him with Essence Atkins, who's good, and then take the stronger actor, Mel Jackson, and flip him to the player mode. Because
or Dwayne
Martin.
I'm not going to go there.
You didn't like Dwayne Martin?
Dwayne Martin doesn't do it for me. Dwayne Martin, I would, first of all, there's nothing about Dwayne Martin that I would ever buy as a player. So no, I couldn't see him in that role. But I don't like Dwayne Martin. He just comes across like a little basic to me. No, I don't dig him. Mel Jackson, Mel Jackson could have played that role. Now I can't think of when is he in Soul Food?
Yeah, that's my whole theory about Mel Jackson.
Right.
My whole
what's the theory?
My whole Mel Jackson theory is that he is so good in Soul Food as Bird's ex-boyfriend that got Lim the job. And he calls Bird, we used to call a Coke bottle, because she was shaped like a Coke bottle. He is so good in that role that as a community, we hate him. So that because he absolutely should have been bigger. But he was so good as that guy, we all hate him.
Yeah.
On like our reptilian brains.
Yes.
Don't like him.
Yes. Because he should be in the LL role.
Absolutely.
He should be in that position. LL gives Gabrielle Union nothing to bounce off, and thus the chemistry never even comes out of the erector set. It's dead on arrival.
I hear you, and I think that I hear you. I think that because I think LL is suffering from also coming from television to a big screen rom-com. This is a rom-com. And you're so right about Gabby having comedic instincts. They needed to, it's in the writing. They needed to give her like a pratfall or something. Like, that scene in The Wedding Planner when the shoe is like stuck and then the thing is coming? Because Gabby works best when she's doing something.
Yes.
And I really think that LL, I know you guys may not feel this, but like I felt like a guy that looks like LL and spitting like that is going to at least have you be like, ooh, like the way she responded to him when he came to church. And, I was like, yeah, I felt like they had chemistry in that moment. And I think this is where the director and the script fails them both, because I think that it didn't take into account how new they were to these kinds of roles. I mean, because they're gorgeous. I mean, it's a gorgeous couple. There's no reason why they shouldn't have chemistry.
None.
Well, yeah.
None whatsoever.
I don't have a lot to add to everything that you all said. I think tonally, it couldn't quite figure out where it wanted to land. Like I think in the beginning, you get the sense it's going to be a farce. It's going to be a romp. But as you said about these three men, by the end, these are really, like, they're a nasty number. Like, this whole bit, like, they're actually cruel by the end to Gabrielle Union's character. To me, the most unrealistic part was when the plot kind of unraveled, their 3 wives / girlfriends, there wasn't more of a repercussion of the type of men that they are partnered with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I like the cast. Like I think this is a perfect balance of a cast where you know, I think Dwayne Martin is fine, but I really like, you know, I have a soft spot for Robin Lee from Half
I love
Plenty.
Robin. Yeah.
Essence Atkins, I'm not a huge Essence Atkins fan, but much like you all, I love Mel Jackson. I love Mel Jackson and wish he would have been bigger.
I think to Lavetta's point, you know, putting in 3 sisters as opposed to just the one. If you just had Essence and Mel, I think there's enough there.
Oh,
Yes.
it's too many
Yes.
people. Yeah. You know, Megan Good, I'm always there for Megan Good. You know, we kind of joked in the elevator. I'm not a fan of Martin Lawrence doing the Martin Lawrence character. I'm even less of a fan of D'Artagnan imitating Martin Lawrence, doing a Martin Lawrence character.
Yes, it was so annoying.
But by the time you get annoyed, they're on to the next person. Yeah. Like you, Kim Whitley is a treasure. Kim Whitley can do no wrong. I don't think LL Cool J is a good actor, full stop. And I think after 20 some odd years of acting, I'm pretty secure in that opinion. Like we with the evidence we have from television, from film, from comedies, from action, I just don't. I think he's just a real stiff dude. Just generally,
it's just amazing.
Just
though.
generally, but
I have a soft spot for LL. I will say.
Again, I also love LL.
Yeah.
But LL acting has never, and again, the brother that had Tom to win me over.
He's got no excuse.
But Gabrielle
I don't think he's
Union,
interested in becoming like, you know, like a fine actor. I think he just, it's like, oh, you know, he's gonna like Ice-T, I feel like. He's like,
you
even
know.
though Ice-T's great in, what's the movie you guys reviewed? The Wesley Snipes.
New Jack City.
Yeah, he's great in that. He's great in he was in a movie that you guys haven't got to where he's being hunted. I don't know if it's considered a black movie.
The Deadliest Game.
Yeah, he's good in
That's
that.
on the list.
But like, I don't think LL is interested in becoming like a serious actor.
Well, apparently
That's why he's
not.
on NCIS.
But Gabrielle Union, you pulled the note right out of my notebook. I was thinking about her in
Almost Christmas.
Almost Christmas. I think Gabrielle Union, and you know, may God grant you these kind of problems. She is so pretty. Like, she is ridiculously beautiful.
Yes.
And because of that, no one ever, it seems like no one wants to give her the opportunity to be funny, because she is funny. And I think the first part of the film, again, talking about the tonal shifts, where it seems like she was just going to be this sort of over the top kind of arch, you know, kind of almost caricature. She is having fun. I'm having fun with her. Mm-hmm. You don't get a lot of physical comedy in here. One of the times I genuinely laughed when LL dipped her at the dance, and then 30 seconds later, she dipped his big ass.
Yeah.
But you forget, you know, Gabrielle Union was a college athlete. Mm-hmm. This is not a dainty woman. So she's able to do that. I loved her on the horse.
Yeah.
Like, I love the two of them on the horse, and it looks like she was actually riding the horse. But it as she starts to quote unquote soften and sort of fall for him, she loses that life.
Yeah.
And then she's just sort of consigned to being the pretty girl. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, as the film went on, it was like, she just dimmed.
Yep.
And I do land on, much like you, I love the big gesture at the end with the
Yeah.
horse. And much like you said, like I think Gabrielle Union is in this wonderful space as this unambiguously Black woman who is seen as beautiful. And, you know, even now in 2023, it's like her, it's Lupita Nyong'o. You know, I might be forgetting one or two, you know, Issa Rae maybe, but you have to acknowledge that. You know, these women who are seen as beautiful by the script, by the cameras, by the filmmakers. And even if she is not the fully actualized Gabrielle Union that I want, like I really need her in a screwball comedy.
Yes.
I still landed on you know, the pluses outweighed the minuses.
It's funny you say that. It's something that Lavetta mentioned earlier when you were going through like the 90s rom-com and Julia Roberts had her lane, and then, you know, Jennifer Lopez and other people were allowed to have a little bit of their lane, right? And our go-to as far as the rom-coms has always been somebody like Nia Long.
Sure.
For a short time, Vivica. And even Gabrielle, they tried her out. And unfortunately, we know the answer. None of those women or pick any other one from around that time were really given their lane.
Sure.
To be the star.
Yeah.
There it is.
These such a film, to be the lead. It was always about teaming them with, you know, Morris, Tay, L, the name next rapper that wants to act, you know, but never given their lane to be their name above the title.
Sure.
You know, and never really truly given that opportunity to excel. You know, I'm a huge Nia Long fan. Nia Long, I think, is a very talented actress. I would have loved to see her stretch more.
Sure.
But somebody like Gabrielle Union, you know how I feel about Tisha Campbell.
Yeah.
Like those are those two right there who should have names above a title on a film, screwball comedy, getting their flex on, man. And it was like the only way that a Black woman could get above the title is if you desexualize them like they did with Whoopi Goldberg.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really a shame. It's when you said that, I started thinking about that, and like none of our sisters got their lane, and it's a shame.
No, they never. And it goes to show you, this is a perfect example of how stars are made. And not,
that's right.
You know, you have to, here you are, you have Gabrielle. Like I said, when she comes on the screen, I was like, God, I forgot how beautiful she is. Like, you know, like she's so beautiful. It's distracting almost, but and she has comedic timing and like, but you could tell that she needed, this is where a director and a better script serves you.
Yes.
Made in Manhattan is not a good movie, but I love The Wedding Planner because I think the script is, and Monster-in-Law, I think the script is sharper. Easy A, 10 Things I Hate About You. Like, again, I think the scripts are sharper. And unfortunately, a lot of our Black female stars don't have access to quality scripts. And top tier level directors. Again, I think that Hardwick I think he had good intentions, but I just wish they'd had like a female pass. Like, you know, because like you said, you have to play to a star's strengths, right? So if you know Gabby's funny, she's good at pratfalls. Because you're right, she's so beautiful. They don't think, oh, we don't want her like wallowing in the mud. But that's what that's comedy gold, that she is so beautiful that she's willing to wallow in the mud, right?
Right.
Or I feel like almost like the things that they gave him on the horse, they should have given to her, but maybe not on a horse, but something else. Like that was all very funny. And I think that would have loosened her up. You know, she's a star. She's an actress getting her first film as a lead. She has said in the past, she has a lot of responsibilities, like a lot of Black stars. They have a lot of responsibilities personally. So it's not just about their careers, right?
Right.
So oftentimes a star will go into their shell when they don't feel protected. And this is where a good director and a good director or a producer would come up and be like, what's going on? Like, I've been looking at the dailies. What's going on? What do you need? And often our people just don't get that. Particularly our Black women don't get that.
Sure.
You know? So,
Shame.
yeah. But I agree with you. Vince, even though I had all that stuff I didn't like, I love this movie. I love this movie. You know, it's one of the few that we can say is a pure rom-com, you know, that's from this era, that's, you know, in the two can play that game, that kind of thing. Even with Nia Long, I felt like she, you know, obviously she's our sweetheart. She's one of our major princesses in the Black community. But she also, you know, as much as I love Love Jones, I wanted to see her in more. You know, I wanted to see Sanaa Lathan in more. I wanted to see Gabrielle in more, and different kinds of things. Like Katherine Heigl has how many rom-coms? Like 20, 25, 35?
I swear they're all like the same movie.
They're all the same movie.
All the same movie.
Right.
There's all the same movie. And remember when I'm drawing a blank on her name. Goldie Hawn's daughter was the it girl for a second.
Kate Hudson. Yep.
Kate
10
Hudson.
Things, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, she was.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yep.
so safe to say that the two of you would recommend that people see Deliver Us from Evil.
I would.
Absolutely.
I would. It's funny you mentioned Two Can Play That Game, and we were talking about Woo earlier. All jokes aside, I like that period in the late '90s, early 2000s. This sort of mid-tier Black film.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's something that we're just starting to see a bit of a resurgence of. Like, I think for so long, there were such extremes. You know, you had the historical Black film, you had the Spike Lee film, or then you had something that was basically almost a Chitlin circuit that you show, that you know the DVD man would sell you.
And then it became like the hip hop genre.
Right. So, you know,
yes.
but there was this wonderful kind of moment where it was like, again, like the mid-level, mid-tier Black film. And the older I get, the more I have respect for that film. So, yeah, absolutely.
And you would recommend Deliver Us from Eva as well.
Absolutely, along with Two Can Play That Game, and I mid-tier. I think that's a perfect moniker for that kind of film. And like you said, when you get older and you realize like, oh, there's not even space for that. So I would highly recommend. It's, you know, it's a nice, fun popcorn movie. You're at home, you put it on. It's not going to change the world, but it's fun and it makes you feel good. It's a cozy rom-com. So I would highly recommend it.
And you know what? I meant to say this. One last thing about the images of the women. These are for beautiful women. They are not like it's not a lot of flesh.
No, it's really only one scene.
Yeah, like you know, this is a film that treats them as beautiful without objectifying them.
Yes.
Which in and of itself is worth commenting on.
Very true. Very true.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, you didn't.
I'm going to let the baby be.
Oh.
Oh man, are you serious?
Oh. I can't recommend this movie. I can't.
No?
No. Because I do think that the chemistry lets it down. I think you can see LL in other stuff. I think you can see Gabrielle Union in better stuff. And I think you can see a shorter movie. This movie just dragged on. It because it's so overstuffed. I found it boring, and I can't recommend it. No.
All right.
I did not have fun in this. Two that can play the game. I remember having fun in that movie. I'm very excited to return to that film. I've come close to choosing it a few times, and I agree with you. I do kind of like these mid-tier kind of like rom-com-ish, black films of this time, which is probably why I gave Woo a second chance. But yeah,
I need to watch this again.
No, I don't.
See, okay, let me ask you this. What other movie, and Two Can Play a Game is not the same sort of tone.
No,
what
it's not.
What other movie is there like this for Black people, for Black women, for Black men to watch, Black couples to watch?
So you're saying like this, you mean that's just a straight rom-com. It's just it's funny. It's not trying to be super serious.
Yeah, it's not too sexy. It's not booty call.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't take itself so seriously.
Yeah.
Nothing that is coming to my mind real quick. To be fair,
did you see About Last Night?
I don't think so. I don't remember. I don't think I saw About Last Night.
About Last Night is a better version of this movie.
Yeah, the remake.
The remake
with Kevin. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I didn't see that one. There's not one that's coming to my mind.
And that is why I think people should watch it.
Well,
because
that doesn't mean that you should still waste your time with this film, though.
Okay, Blank Man. Are you saying
he's very complicated? He is very complicated.
You think? I'm gonna have to go back. I'm gonna have to do that to you, Lynn.
Blank Man, Deliver Us from Eva. Yeah, I'm going with Blank Man.
No, my point is there is not another movie like Blank Man. That is why, even though people who may not like it because they think it's so silly, I'm like, but you have to watch it. There's no other movie, is it Meteor Man?
I'm about to say,
like that?
Some people would probably say
Okay.
Meteor Man is along the same lines as Blank Man.
Maybe
It ain't,
No.
but I see what they're going for. No, if I was presented with a list, maybe I could pull a film.
Okay.
I just, at the end of the day, I can't think of one, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other films, romantic films, to pull your romance from than this one. I think there's a lot to pull from Boomerang. You may say that it's a different style, and I can understand that, but I think there is a great deal of romance in Boomerang. So,
All right, split decision.
Hey,
Yeah.
we land on that. They should see the film.
Yes.
Yes.
I didn't want to say it. Y'all made me say it. I wanted to.
It's our whole shtick.
Well, I was trying to get
This is.
I had Lavetta on my side. I was trying to keep her on my side.
I'm still on your side, Lynn. I'm still on your side.
All right.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed Lavetta Cannon sitting here with us reviewing Deliver Us from Evil, first, stay tuned, because I'm going to bring her ass back for Woo.
What did I get myself into?
That's what you got yourself into. Woo. But if you want more of her, check out the Notorious Women podcast wherever you find podcasts. It is a great podcast. Check it out. Lavetta Cannon, thank you so much for sitting in with us.
It's been great.
No, thank you. This was such a treat. Truly. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
thank you.
Anytime. You're already booked. All right. So you don't even have to pick a film. It's already picked for you. I'll send you the date. We'll check dates and we'll make it happen. All right. We're going to let you go as we close out the show. But thank you again.
Yes. Good night.
Thank you. All right. See you all.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we tell you what we're going to be reviewing next week here on the Bards of November, I invite you to tell us what's on your mind. Email us at micheuxmission@gmail.com. That's micheuxmission@gmail.com. You can also like and follow the Michelle Mission on the social media of your choice. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on X, the social media formerly known as Twitter, at Michelle Mission. You can also look us up on YouTube at Me Show Mission, where you can ring the bell, subscribe, and be notified when we have new live streams, new videos, new shorts going up for your download and streaming pleasure. Okay? On YouTube, where we crossed 1,000 subscribers, Vincent.
Very nice.
I was very happy. I'm very excited for that.
Thank you.
And hopefully we can keep it going. Keep it going.
Onward to
Onward
2000.
and upward. All right. The Michelle Mission is also a proud member of The Podglomerate. ThePodglomerate.com. They make podcasts work, such as ours, which streams live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. from Young Junk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace. Go to thevideocontentfactory.com and book your time in one of the other glorious studios that they have here for podcasting. But you can't this one is branded. It is for us. All right. Next week, here on the Michelle Mission, we return to the story of Othello, but this time it is in a high school teen setting.
Yes.
As we visit with Mekhi Phifer, Julia Stiles, and Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
In O. Next week here on the Michelle Mission. Until then, he's Vincent.
I am.
I'm Len. And in parting, we say,
we'll see you when it's time to meet again.